Good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. Welcome to the new time for Talk About It Tuesday. Today is June 25th, 2024. I'm Adam Brown, the Deputy Director here with the Alabama 911 Board, and I have Melissa Carpenter with INdigital with me. Will you go to the next slide, Michelle? All right, today we're going to talk a little bit about INdigital's new and improved ALI and IMSAG database. Melissa's going to provide a demonstration and talk you guys through some of the new and exciting changes. I'm going to talk a little bit about Grant Cycle 10 that opened last week, and then we will give our updates on upcoming training, deadlines, and reminders. Well, anytime during this webinar, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or unmute yourself and ask us, and we'll do the best we can to answer. Here is our contact information for the staff here at the Alabama 911 Board. If you ever do need anything, have any questions, anything like that, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And we're happy to try to provide you with an answer, or at least find somebody who can. All right, Melissa, I'm going to pass it along to you and let you start the show.
Thank you. So a lot of you have heard about the new database that's coming. It is a much easier platform to maneuver through. A lot of the things that I'm going to show you here are things that people have been asking for: sort order, being able to export, things like that. So I've got some slides I'm going to show you first, and then after we go through those, I'm actually going to pull up the database and walk you through doing some of the things that you might do daily, so that you're a little bit more comfortable and can see how easy it is to maneuver through the site. So one of the things that you're going to see different, previously when you went to the al911.net, you typed in your password, and then you had to go to your phone and use the VIP app. But we no longer use VIP app. So the al911.net page is just a landing page. So you do have an option to log in. And when you log in there, the only thing that is not an external link at this point is training videos and trouble tickets. Everything else, and database. We probably will have database on this landing page as well. But if you'll see on the bottom of the screen there, you have all these links to other things. So you can bookmark the data page, the data mark link, just like you may already bookmark your Logix page. But if you ever forget that link or need to be able to reach back out to it from a different computer or anything like that, you can always go to this landing page and be able to get to all the resources that you might need. So at this point, you would go to log in, and right now, only a few people are going to have a login. You may think you have a login, but this is a little bit different. I'm sorry, I'm trying to click on my screen, and I've got a clicker in my hand. So when you do it the first time, you're going to click login, and then it's going to pop up and ask you to sign up. So we need you to sign up as a new user. You still use the same email. It's going to email you a code, which you will enter there. And then after we validate who it is that's trying to get credentials to log in, you'll get a confirmation. So the next time you go in, when you hit login, you won't have to type in a username and password. You won't have to use VIP anything. This is just a one-time thing. Once you set it up, you're good. So then that's going to bring you into the database where you can actually see and log into the database. So before we do, I wanted to make sure everyone is aware what we're talking about when we talk about database. We're talking about where you maintain your IMSAG, where your ALI information is. And so your IMSAG is your Master Street Address Guide. And a lot of people sometimes get confused about what this is because it's GIS stuff, but it does affect the call takers, and I want to show you how. So your IMSAG is what you're going to use when your GIS folks go in and they add streets, they put the house numbers that exist on those streets, and then they assign who responds to those particular address points. So on the dispatcher's end, how this affects you is when they enter that information in there, the ESN that they've entered is what's going to display. That's what's going to show you on your call taking screen. The responding agencies, the physical address. So if you receive a call that is something that is, a landline in your jurisdiction, and the business name has changed. Let your GIS folks know, because there's a couple of things we can do to correct this. If it's something that's in our database, we can make that correction for them. If it's a VoIP provider, we can reach out to them and ask them to correct that. So that's how it affects you on the front line. So some of the benefits with the new web-based toolkit or database. One of the things we've been asked for a lot is to be able to filter the data, to be able to pull up your MSAG and not just search a specific name, but once you find that name or that number, be able to filter it so you can sort it through there. So now you have the ability, you can filter up to actually 4 of these at a time. So you can not just filter one, but then you can set your secondary and third that you want to set up to sort as well. You can adjust the columns if you want to make it wider. If you want to slide the street name over and have it listed as the first column, you can do that. The next thing that we've been asked for a lot is to be able to export it. A lot of you are on Data Guider's list where she emails you your MSAG monthly. You now have the ability to go in there and export it yourself. And you can export it with whichever columns you choose. So when you click export there, it's going to download. It's going to prompt you for a download first, and you can choose which columns you want it to populate. And then, of course, it just pulls it up as an Excel sheet, and you can choose how you want to save that onto your own computer and use it how it works best for you and your agency. Making MSAG changes is very easy. It's similar to the way we did previously. When you click on MSAG, you'll see when you click on a specific one. So this one right now, the existing range is 1100 to 1111. So say you wanted to make it 1130. On that column to the right, all you're going to do is change the number, and you're going to submit that. So if you are submitting a new one, maybe it's a new street or something, you can pull up one like this and then just insert new instead of submitting this change. And that way, and put a note on it there. That way you don't have to pre-populate your county ID, the ESN. If all of that is the same, you may want to choose like a cross street where the new street runs off of. Everything else is going to be the same. You just change the fields that are going to be specific to that one, and then you just insert new. So all of your tickets are now filed in the discrepancy list. So when you log in, if you see on the dashboard there along the title page there, it says ALI, MSAG, ELT, and discrepancies. This is a statewide view. There's 269 of them. You're not going to see 269. You're only going to see the ones that are applicable to you. And so if you see that they're purple, that means it's waiting on something. Something has been updated. And so you can click on that on the magnifying glass, open it up, and see what it is that needs to be updated. And then you have the option to either respond to it by typing in a comment, or you can mark it as completed, and it will not be displayed there in purple as a highlight for you. Okay, so some of you may not want to do it that way. A lot of you just email your ticket straight to database, and that is totally fine. You still have the option to do that, or you can click in the corner there under contacts, and this will pop up, and you can actually type in just like you were sending an email and submit it here the same exact way. The only difference between entering it as yourself as an MSAG update or an ALI update is you do not get that original email notification that a ticket has been submitted. So that's the only difference there. If you're wanting to have access, if your agency has not received this form from our database team yet, the state board has also posted it to their website. You would just populate this however you need to, who needs to be listed and who needs an account, send it into database, and we will in turn send you an email with the login information. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to switch over and actually show you what it looks like when you log in yourself. Okay, I told you we no longer use the VIP access. We do, however, still require authentication for database. So when you get to your database landing page, You'll type in your username and password. And then it's going to prompt you for authentication. I choose to use the Google Authenticator. You can use whatever works best for you. If you don't want to use a authentication that is on a phone, we can actually send you a device to use. But this one is really easy, so that's the one I choose to use. Type in your code, just as you would previously. Okay, so you're going to see a lot more on my screen, just because this is a statewide view. The first tab is alley records. I'm not going to show you any of that because it does show personal information. But when Dana, we will have some follow-up. I'm giving you some high-level overview of what the database looks like to kind of get you comfortable in knowing that, yeah, this is something that we could actually do. Dana and Amy are actually going to put on some training. And so I'm hoping that that will be announced here in the next coming weeks. And so we'll probably have several sessions that anyone can join together, that she'll do virtually, and that you can join and go through and look at the data. You probably do want to have an account set up first so that she can actually walk through it with you. Okay, so if we go to IMSAG, which is probably what most people use, like I said, you have the ability to move these columns around if you want to just focus on the ranges. Another thing with this, some people like to see their neighboring counties. You can still do that. However, on the account that you have edit permissions, you can't choose which ones you can edit and which ones you cannot. So it would require you setting up two different accounts, one to view all and one that you would actually be making changes on. But you can, in fact, do that. So you can search. So let's just say we want to see how many main streets there are. So here's all the mains, but I don't really want to see the whole state. I just want to look and see what are our IMSAG entries for Rainsville. To be able to edit this, you have a couple different buttons here on the left-hand side. You have the pencil, which is your edit. You have the eyeball. And then if you click on this one right here, this is going to show you the little pin drop. That's going to show you all the alley records that are attached to that. The nice thing about that is when you say you have a street that has a lot of houses on it and you're changing the name of it. Maybe it was East Main Street before, but now you want it to be North Thompson Street. So if you want to change every one of those records without having to go into every single one, you can do a batch change. And you would do that by clicking here and looking at all the alley records. And then you could just do a batch change, make one change for all the streets, or maybe the ESN has changed for all of them. You don't have to go into every specific one and make that change. And it would change your IMSAG and your alley records all at once. So told you the pin drop, that brings up your alley records. The eyeball just lets you view it. If you go back, here's where your edit permissions are. So when you submit to us, you're going to tell us whether or not someone needs permissions to edit or if they just need permissions to view. We'll need a form for every person to be submitted because we do realize, some people you may want edit and some people just need to view it. So right now this shows that this is coming up in Eufaula Street, but there's 100 to 115, both sides of the street. That's what currently exists. And then I just need to go in here and decide what is my change going to be. So say I now want this to be extended to 125. I'm going to go scroll down here. If there's if the ESN change, I can change it right there. I may want to type in extend range. And then I'm going to go down here and you have three choices. You can cancel, you can insert it as a new. This is not a new one. I'm just extending it. The only way it would be a new one is if maybe this is a new street off of that street. And that's where you would say, okay, instead of trying to create a whole new document here to submit, I'm going to choose an existing one in the same area. The ESN is the same, the county ID is the same, the street all the city and the states, all that's the same. The only thing I really have to change are these 4 columns here at the top. So you could change that. And then I'm not going to change this and you follow. I'm going to hit cancel here. But if you're in fact doing it, you would hit change. Then that record is now going to pop up over here under your discrepancies. And so you can see Nita's hard at work. She has submitted a lot of these, helping a lot of agencies out. And then if I want to go back and look at it, then I can just click on it and I can see what is it that we're wanting to change here. And then if a comment has been made on it, like I said, it'll be purple and it'll be waiting for you to either validate it or make some type of comment to resubmit it to correct it. But you do have the option. It's in your control whenever it's closed. Okay, so if we go back to MSAG records, I told you that you can move these columns around. You do have lots of columns here. Let me see if I can get to the bottom of it so I can scroll over and show you the other columns. A lot of them we don't even use here, which I think would be helpful. General use. You have post-directional. All of those are populated. So far, general route use is not populated. And if I scroll over here, there was one other one. Can't see it there on mine. There's one of these fields in here, and it may be the general use that say you wanted to add a community name to it. Maybe the postal code is one thing, but everyone knows it as a general use. When you make that change in there, you can, if it's something that would be helpful to your dispatchers. One thing in particular, when I was thinking about it, when I was looking at the demo was, we have areas where you may send an accident with certain criteria, you may need to send a helicopter. So you may want to put general use. You don't have a tab to be able to put what helicopter agency would respond, but you could put it there. The only thing is you will need to get with your CHE provider and make sure they parse that data so that it displays for the dispatchers. But I thought that was kind of helpful, as well as being able to put the community name there. So this is where you would go to export. I'm not going to export right now because I might lock it up because it's the whole state. But yours will go pretty instantly. As soon as you hit export, you'll get the pop-up here. You have 2 different ways. You can do a CSV to Excel, or you can do the NINA standard one. If you do change your mind, you look at the NINA and you're like, oh, I can't go back. You do have to kind of go back and hit export again to get back to the CSV. And then you would hit download, and then it's yours to use how you want. So you don't have to wait on somebody to pull the information, pull your list of ESNs. We see that a couple times a week sometimes. Can you send me all of my ESNs? You can now pull that up yourself and see what all your ESNs are. Okay, so we have your alley records, you have your MSAG records, and I'll just mention, when they go through this training with you, the alley records are really neat because you can actually see the history of that record. You can see when it was created, when it was last edited, what was the last change made, who made the last change, and what was the change. So those are some pretty good information that is now visible for you. So we did MSAG records, your ELTs. Oh, here it is. This is where it was. The EMS2. That may be a good place where you want to put a helicopter response, or maybe, if you have a secondary fire department that responds as backup, you could populate it there. But like I was saying, you do need to make sure before your dispatchers can see it, your call handling provider needs to know so that they can parse it to be visible to them. So you can pull all of that information. And then we talked about the discrepancies. And then over here to the right, this is where if I look at one of these, let's look at what Nita has done. So this looks like she's changing MSAG. Currently, it was 1 to 120. I don't see, maybe I'm overlooking what change is being made. Oh, it went 100 to 120 instead of 1 to 120. So this is what the original record was. This is what she corrected. It needs to be changed to. And this is what's being resubmitted back to her, as this is the change that we've received from you, and that she now has the option to go in here and answer she has no questions. And she can mark this as, instead of verified, she can change it to completed, and it shows that it's a record that's been completely handled.
Well, it's in a scenario where, let's just say a call was default routed and a change needed to be made by a database. Would it also show up in a discrepancy report for verification to an ECD?
I don't believe so. They're going to send some there. It very well may, because a lot of times if it's something they submit to us, it will. But if it's something like the carrier who has reached out to validate, I'm not sure if those will
Okay.
populate through there. We can look through here and see quickly if we see any, but I don't believe so. I think these are ones that are mostly initiated straight from the agency.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the last tab you see there is your contacts, and you have your questions and answers. The contacts, you can always call us. Our phone numbers are listed there. You can email directly, or you can fill this out straight through here and submit. So I don't want anybody to feel intimidated by the new database. When you hear new, I know us being dispatchers, the worst thing we want to hear is change, and it's hard to take, but it's a good thing. This is being done so that we have better security and we give you more visibility of your data and make it easier for you to use. So if you guys have any questions at all, please reach out to me. We will let y'all know. I know we have several other Talk About It Tuesdays coming up soon. We'll let you know when the future training classes are going to be so that you can join on there, and you can have any more detailed questions, any suggestions you have, things like that. We can address those. So that is our new database. So do not be afraid of it.
Thank you so much, Melissa. All right, we're going to swap back over.
Hey, Adam, can I chime in for just a minute?
Absolutely.
I'm really excited about this product within digital, because a big part of what we're doing through the GIS data remediation is MSAG and ALI synchronization, right? And so not always is the GIS correct. And so there are going to be times where you modify the GIS to meet the MSAG and the ALI, but then sometimes where you run through these validations, you'll discover something that is either in the GIS or the GIS is correct, and the MSAG and the ALI needs to be changed. And the only way you'll be able to see your synchronization rates get to that mythical 98% is when you go back and modify the MSAG and ALI. And then the new INdigital database, I think, makes that process streamlined, and something that is critical to seeing your MSAG and ALI synchronization rates reach the level that they need to go. So I'm really excited about this development project, whatever product you want to call it, and hats off to INdigital.
Thanks, Anderson.
All right. So now we're going to talk a few minutes about Grant Cycle 10 that opened last week on June 18th. So Grant Cycle 10 is going to solely focus on call handling equipment solutions, CHE, CPE, whichever abbreviation you would like to use currently, as well as recorders. We have an extensive need for call handling equipment replacement in certain places, so we're going to focus specifically on those. And just so everybody knows, no other grant project categories will be considered in Grant Cycle 10. Usually we're like, yes, submit, what are your needs? And we happily take all of those and deliberate and evaluate them. But this cycle, we're only focusing on call handling solutions as well as recorders. The information is on our website at this link. It will work or function when we PDF these slides for Talk About It Tuesday later on. You can also search Grant or Grant Cycle 10 on our website, and that webpage will come up. The application package is there for download. Some notable changes to the submission process as well as the application are that we are no longer requiring a printed copy of the application material. We are only requiring a digital copy to either be emailed to myself or to be placed on a digital storage device and either mailed or hand delivered to our office here in Montgomery. If anybody ever happens to be in our office and is interested in why we made that change, I can show you the 25 different notebooks through these grant cycles that I have stored in my office. So it should make the process a little more streamlined and hopefully save some for us. The additional change to the application process is for the ECD financial sheet portion. We are requiring both the approved fiscal year 2024 budget of the ECD, as well as the annual required report that the examiners require you guys to fill out by November following the previous fiscal year. In years past, we have asked for one or the other, but we would like both the most current updated approved budget you have for this fiscal year, as well as the submission you made to the examiners last November of 2023. Applications are due on or before August 9th. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me, email me, and I'm happy to have a conversation. All right, is Ms. Sarah Hart on, or is she not on break? All right.
I'm here. Hey, everybody. So real quickly, I'm sure you've noticed that we're hosting trainings in a good variety of locations around the state. And in doing so, we found that we have limited resources on places to host. And a lot of people reach out and say, hey, we'd like to host, but we need a little bit more detail about what you can provide or what the venue provides. So if you're interested in hosting training, or even have somewhere in the area that you are familiar with or have a contact with that could host training, anywhere from 12 attendees up to 100, we would love to hear from you. Social media posts today will have a link you can click on. You'll answer a few questions, and that will go directly to our new app, where we can add that to the locations where we reach out to host the trainings that we provide. And if you have any questions, you can email Daniel or myself at education@al911board.com or call us. And Mr. Brown, could you go? Thank you. Okay, so we just released this. This is 4 consecutive days of the same class. Jim Marshall with the 911 Training Institute will be teaching building mentally tough, high morale 911 teams. The locations will be as listed, both in Montgomery, Hoover, and Coleman, the last week of July. And as of this morning, it looks like all locations except for Montgomery have about 2/3 of the registration still open. Montgomery has a little bit more than that. But this is free, 8 hours of CEUs, and it's going to be a fantastic class. So really excited about that. Next week, we'll release the exact location of each venue where we'll be hosting those. And this is a lot. I realize when you look at it, you're like, oh my gosh. But this is just to show you guys that we are working super hard to bring a variety of training to all of you in all places across the state, as many as we possibly can. So you can just see here, June 27th through September 17th, courses we are hosting, or some of those that we are, what's the word I'm looking for? It just escaped me, that we are, help me out, that we are
Sponsoring,
that
funding,
we are just advertising. Goodness, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. A bunch of people started walking out and I lost my train of thought. But anyway, here's a bunch of the trainings. The last week, you can see locations for a good portion of them, but we have not released the class title. And some of those don't have a location either, and we will be releasing those. So if you don't already, follow our social media, go to our training page so that you can see all of the different classes available and where they are available, so you can send some of your people. And sorry about losing my words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. All right, Leah. Are you still on?
Sorry, I was losing my buttons. She lost her words.
No
I'm
worries.
losing my buttons. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, good deal. So we have another announcement that we would like to make, and this is, don't overthink this too much, but this is a pretty formal process that we're about to go through here at the board, that we hope to continue with filling the gap for needs across the state. So what we've done is author a request for proposal for teaching services, and that's what we're going to announce today. Michelle's going to post it later today, as long as nobody finds any typos in my document, and we don't have any major issues. So it should be posted later today. And if you'll go to the next slide, Adam. What are we looking for? So what we're looking for are independent contractors to the board. And very specifically, that's what we need. This is not, we're not looking for employees of the board, but independent contractors to the board. And very specifically, we're looking for teaching services. So think about a contract instructor on behalf of the board. And what we will mostly target to start with are public safety telecommunicators in basic courses, because that's where the need is. We simply don't have the staff to do that at this time. We're not looking necessarily to hire anyone on as an employee for this, simply because our funding needs to sustain some other programs versus an additional employee in this capacity. However, like I said, an independent contractor to the board, and this will most likely be very targeted to, like I said, basic PST course to start with. I'm leaving that as a sort of an opening to we hope. I was going to say we assume, but we hope this is the first round of more to come of being able to offer up an instructor for those agencies that need new personnel certified. And essentially what we've done is looked at, travel cost, all of the things associated with that, and settled on a rate of $800 per day, which if it were a 3-day course that somebody was instructing, it would be $2,400. If it was a 5-day course, it would be $4,000. So just so you all know that that's sort of how we came up with that number, but that would be to travel, to cover all of your travel cost, meals, lodging, all those sorts of things. The key dates for this RFP is we will issue it today. The deadline for the proposal responses is July 12th, so about 3 weeks or so from now, and that is on a Friday. There is a time listed in the RFP, so we would like for you to meet that deadline, and then we will execute a contract. In the actual document that's going to be posted, there is a sample contract. Don't let it overwhelm you. Don't overthink it. We're just putting that out there as an idea of what you all would negotiate with the board. The point of contact for this RFP is going to be Laura, and all of her contact information is there. I will admit we are all spread a little thin and going to be spread out over the next week or so with NASNA, Nina, Laura's in a class now, like all of these types of things. So please be a little bit patient with us if we don't immediately respond to some of your questions, but we will be happy to answer them as quickly as we can. So do keep that in mind. Next slide, please. So again, you guys ask, what are we looking for? And this is our expectation. And all of this is, like I said, is negotiable, but we have plans as far as how we would like this to be rolled out, and then other things that we might like to utilize the contract instructor for in the future, as maybe the EMD program needs instructors or other programs need instructors, rather than simply hiring an instructor external to the state or our organization. So keep that in mind. So basically, we're looking for somebody to teach classes. Again, focus is public safety telecommunicators and any other 911 professionals that we want to reach here at the board. Right now, the target would be that once monthly, we are going to try to make certain that we deliver public safety telecommunicator basic training. And that's what we're looking for. This does not necessarily mean that's one person. That may be, 2 people or 3 people overlapping in a contract period. So we're trying to be very flexible, honestly, just to get the needs met. Said that backwards. And anyway, obviously all the administrative duties that go along with the delivery of a course to public safety telecommunicators, and then anything that needs to be brought back to the board for consideration, and all the things that are encompassed in teaching a class or offering a certification. Next, Adam. So in the proposal content, this kind of looks like a lot, but we're really trying to get the right people to deliver really quality certification material. So if anybody's been paying attention to sort of our last board meeting or series of board meetings, we will be going through the process of some curriculum development also. So we anticipate, just as all of our training programs have in the past, this will continue to evolve. But what we really want to know in your proposal is, what is your interest in the board? What do you bring to the table to offer the public safety telecommunicators in the state of Alabama? We obviously would like your resume. If there are any particular areas of expertise that you just really knock out of the park as far as the instruction that you deliver, we would like for you to highlight that in your proposal packet. Qualifications, we've put some basic qualifications here. Some of them are very specific, especially the last bullet point, because at this moment in time, we as an entity are only able to deliver the IAED ETC course. So we will be starting with that. It's something we've done in the past. It's fairly straightforward for our organization. We would love to expand that, but that's going to depend on the vendors that we use. So just keep that in mind. That's what we will, that is the particular curriculum that we'll start with. Letter of authorization, and I know that's just a bullet point here, but in the RFP, in the request for proposal, it goes into a bit more of detail as far as what we mean as a letter of authorization. Like I said at the beginning of this segment, we're not looking for employees to the board. We are looking for independent contractors. So we understand that in all likelihood, any interested party is going to be an employee of some other organization. And what we do not want to do is burn a bridge or have some sort of issue with an organization by taking an instructor away from them at a time that they need it. So what we are asking as part of your packet, that as you propose for this, is a letter of authorization from your employer saying that they don't have an issue. And a lot of employment places, ours included, if you have a secondary job, you're supposed to get confirmation or approval through your employer. So this is simply basically that, because we certainly understand that we want to fill a gap for organizations in the state of Alabama, and we certainly don't want to take away, excuse me, y'all, from organizations in the state of Alabama. So keep that in mind, that we will need to know ahead of time that your employer is cool with you doing some work on behalf of the board. Also, references, we will take letters of reference or references listed with contact information. I think that mostly covers it. Is there one more slide, or is that it, Adam? Can't remember. Okay, I thought that was it, but I wasn't sure. Anyway, just keep in mind that deadline that we're looking for, at least for the first round, is July 12th. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And we really, really look forward to being able to offer some more instruction specifically targeted to PSTs currently. We know we have a fair amount of turnover, staffing changes, so we're trying to alleviate some of the burden on the employer as well as the new employee. So please apply. Thank you.
Thank you, Leah. So here's a list of several of our recurring deadlines and reminders that we'd like to just keep in front of everybody. Don't forget, if you do have an opening anywhere in your organization, we're happy to advertise that for you on our website. There's information right there. You can email Michelle or really any of us job description, and we'll make sure that it gets uploaded. Fiscal year 24 Legacy 911 cost reimbursement program is still going on. While we have seen a reduction, particularly in Brightspeed bills across the state, we are still accepting those by the 10th of each month to be able to pay out by the end of that month. I will say, if you still get a Brightspeed bill, whether it's for administrative services or anything else, make sure that you're taking a good look at those. If you haven't sent them in to us to make sure that we account for any credits, or just make sure that the charges that were supposed to be removed and lifted up to our bill directly have been removed. I've seen that now in 3 different locations. So just keep that in mind. You can always give me a call or Michelle a call, and we're happy to take a look. But if there's any doubt, just submit it and we'll let you know whether there's anything reimbursable there or not. PSD certification reimbursement is also a program that's still open. Same deadline applies by the 10th of each month to pay out by the end of that month. Please don't forget that we do need proof of payment, not just an invoice, as well as the name of the public safety telecommunicator that you're asking for reimbursement for. Anybody who's submitted one recently may have noticed that I'm ensuring that they're entered into our database, because we've been getting several of those that people are asking for reimbursement, and we don't know that they're telecommunicators because they've not been submitted to us. It really highlights the fact that you need to add that process to your onboarding, and our humble recommendation. So it's done at the beginning of an employee's hiring. They do have 180 days or 6 months to be enrolled in a program. And beyond that, they have 180 days to complete said program. So there's really no reason not to submit a new employee right when they're hired, so we don't forget to do it. So after you do get them trained, I'm not like, hey, we don't know who this person is. We need to track reimbursements with them. So just keep that in mind. As far as our GS, NG911 GS project goes, please upload new data, validate said data, and then aggregate it to the statewide VEP instance, so that Anderson can watch those numbers and watch any trends that he might need to reach out about. We are utilizing that data in production in several different places. We are moving quickly, I would say, toward utilizing a great deal of granular location data in our engine system and network. So it is very important that y'all continue to work on that data. If you have any issues, if you have limited resources, if you are just scared to death about it, please reach out to Anderson and Nita. Nita helps a plethora of ECDs out there in the state, and she is busy remediating data, and she, to a point, is happy to help you too. But we do need to know what needs are out there in case we need to pivot appropriately to make sure that we're building this database and getting it of reasonable quality to be able to use day in and day out.
Hey, Adam.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but I need to go back to the PST certification reimbursement program for just a moment, only because just as a thought to share with everyone, because this is a little bit of a different scenario than the legacy. And this is something that we are in the process of setting up. Keep in mind that public safety telecommunicator certification reimbursement is a program that PSAPs our primary PSAPs also participate in, not just ECDs. And we have always been in the business of sending money to ECDs, so that's a pretty easy thing for us to do. But what we're having to do now is figure out how to send money to some primary PSAPs that legitimately are engaging in the reimbursement program. We've just never paid them directly before. So if you are one of those PSAPs, you would hear us say, hey, we would probably send those payments on the last day of the month. We are doing it through our billing platform. So it issues a check for some of you because that's the chosen method from some of the primary PSAPs because they don't want to share banking information. So just keep that in mind. That might be a bit of a delay, and we've gone back and forth about how we're going to send those funds out, and we are trying to keep them in the same methodology as the others, but just some organizations don't want it done that way, and we understand we're dealing with municipal budgets and things, so we're just having to do that a little bit differently. It shouldn't hold up any ECDs payments because we're, traditionally that's very simple, few keystrokes within our bank to do the ACH, but otherwise you might see a little bit of a delay if you've requested us request that we pay you in the form of a check.
Yep. In addition, if you're not one of the primary PSAPs that's not under an ECD that has made a submission, just know that there's a space on the form for the best contact for the financial, or I guess accounts receivable point of contact within your organization. We may ask for some follow-up information just to make sure that we properly establish that financial relationship with you since we've not had them previously. If you have any staffing changes, particularly staff that our folks, as well as INdigital's folks, Datamark's folks, any of our contractors deal with, whether that's administrative, executive level, or GIS or training, any of those things, if you have those staff changes, please make sure that you go to our website and inform us of those staff changes. We want to make sure that we're providing the most up-to-date contact information. So if there is a problem that arises, we're not having to find who the right person is. And we a lot of times don't know unless y'all tell us whether either somebody has left or if somebody new has taken a promotion or anything like that. So please make sure you keep us up to date on those staffing changes. Talk about it Tuesday coming in July on the 9th. Datamark will have one of their product representatives to go over the quarterly update for their software. Kind of highlight some of the things that have changed, some of the things that have been modified. So join us for that. July 23rd, we will have no Talk About It Tuesday because that is the week of the 911 Summit, our board meeting, the quarterly NENA meeting, as well as AA&D meetings over in Prattville. If you have not signed up for our monthly newsletter or have not shared the sign up for anybody you think might want to know about what's going on here, there's a QR code right there. You can also find that information on our website. It'll come twice a month, and it is packed with information. So please sign up for that, as well as follow us on all social media if you do that. All right. Does anybody have any questions? I appreciate y'all's attention. Just wowed them all. All right, we will process this video. We'll save the slides so everybody will have access on our website either by the end of the day or first thing in the morning. If you do need anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And thank you for joining us at our new updated time. Now everybody can enjoy their lunch. Thank y'all so much.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.
Bye.